what we believed, which we could improve, has now been proven. And not only with our children, but thousands of others, and the research that's been done.
In the early 80s when we started homeschooling, virtually every state said, no, you can't homeschool. And the fight was for the basic right to be allowed to homeschool. That basic fight has been won in virtually every state.
So that's where it is today. It's much more free in terms of being able to start out homeschooling without the threat of jail time or removal of children.
Well, there were a lot of people that were reluctant to homeschool because of fear, and those that did homeschool lived behind drawn shades and hid the truth from their friends and neighbors. But once people understood that A, they had a constitutional right to homeschool their children, and B, that there were lawyers who were willing to go fight for those constitutional rights, you began to have a different attitude, a different spirit about it, and not a spirit of fear, a spirit of courage.
I think there's this feeling out there that people homeschool to isolate themselves and to get away from people. That's not why we're homeschooling. We love people.
We have friends of the street, and we play on a baseball team, and that's a lot of fun.
We usually get that a lot as homeschoolers, where the socialization, and my sons crack me up. They used to tell people where my parents keep me locked up downstairs.
That's the biggest misconception, just because like, if anything, we have more time to socialize with other people. I love people so much, I'm very much a people person. So my friends all laugh at that because they thought that for a while, and now they're like, well, she's very much not unsocialized. So.
When you talk about socialization, it's how you reach out to other people. And again, watching people that are in public high school, you can watch people that can only socialize within their group.
Isaac could be 11 years old, but that doesn't mean that every other 11-year-old boy is in the same interest level as he. Several of his friends are older and some are younger. And with homeschool, you can bond with people of lots of different ages.
You can see when you pull up in a E350, 15-passenger van, and step out into a restaurant, and 7 kids step out of a car, you can see the hostess reaction on her face. We had this one hostess say to us, we thought we were going to have the world's biggest mess and a fight, and we were actually arguing in the back, who was going to take care of you guys? Mm. And she said, I've had the greatest time sitting and talking with your kids. So it's not, like I said, it's not the glory to God that we're doing this, but those are the aspects of socialization that touch me.
If you're a social person, there are so many avenues that open up once you homeschool. There are so many benefits in anything that you want to do, in any type of career that you want to follow.
Colleges didn't understand the concept of homeschooling, but there's a huge paradigm shift. They're seeing these kids and looking at their SAT scores and seeing that they're self-learners and are excellent students. The military academies are looking for them. The Ivy League schools are leaving scholarships open for homeschoolers. It's been a huge paradigm shift from the upper levels of education. They're starting to notice these kids.
I think they're also looking at the kids and their service to the community and how they're being shaped as individuals. They're realizing that they're just not clones coming out of the school system.
A lot of homeschool students come in with a lot of good study skills and the ability to think outside the box, which is very helpful. And I think they're realizing what an asset that is.
Being homeschooled, never having been in a public classroom, going from that to a college classroom actually wasn't difficult for me at all.
One of the great things about homeschooling is that you can get started at any time. If your children are already enrolled in the public or private school system, it's really never too late to make the transition. And if your children are preschool age, it's never too early to start learning the basics. Starting off on the homeschool adventure is exciting, but it can be a little bit daunting. Fortunately, there are many families and resources to learn from before you make the commitment.
I was completely terrified because I had no idea how to start, where to look, where to go. Because I don't know what to do. But I think most parents are. Most parents some will not even begin because they're not sure what to do.
I was intimidated. It felt like, I had shortcomings. And it turned out with good curriculum and a good homeschool group, I'd go to this The other moms were so helpful, and there's just a boatload of information on the internet. You know, we haven't come up on a problem that we couldn't handle.
We used a lot of outside help from others that had, you know, kind of gone before us. How do you structure your day? And took in a lot of feedback. And then we also developed our own way.
I was very overwhelmed, and I kept asking myself, am I doing this right? Am I doing it wrong? And when I saw the results in my children and saw that they were retaining the information, I relaxed a little bit and stopped trying to control the situation and just let it flow.
It wasn't scary to me because even before she attended preschool, I always saw it as my responsibility to teach her instead of just have her watch TV or play with dolls. So I kind of just naturally did it.
I really believe that teaching comes naturally to a mother or a father.
The parents should never have to feel like they're inadequate for the job, because that's where our country was founded. Being homeschooled. Abraham Lincoln was homeschooled. A lot of our founding fathers were homeschooled. So why can't it work today?
We sometimes worry about whether we're capable or whether we're doing it right, or just relax and have fun, and your kids will learn and you'll learn right along with them.
It's amazing what you can do when you put your heart into it.
When you're there and attuned to them and you want the best for them, then there's just no way you can't succeed with that.
Are there bad days? Yes. Are there blunders? Yes. We've had to ask forgiveness a lot and just say, you know what, let's try this a little different.
Even on your worst homeschool day, they're doing far better than they would in a crowded schoolroom, I believe. I have 4 children. That's a 4-to-1 teacher-student ratio. You will never find that in any school.
Homeschool moms need to realize that when we start, you can't do everything you probably were doing before. But what you are doing is the most important thing you can do, and that's mold your children.
There's a real pressure out there for have your own personal time, and that was a concern, but it hasn't been an issue.
I do find time for myself. I do like to walk, or Jay and I get out and play tennis. We make sure we have that time. And there's been a lot of family unity, which is really good because we spend a lot of time together.
Most of the time, homeschooling falls upon the mother of the household, but fathers have to be involved.
One big issue for me is I have more time with my dad, especially.
Fathers can lend a lot to their children by teaching a course.
It's a family venture. It's not a mom thing. It's not a dad thing. It's the family working together.
To students that are considering a homeschool education, I would definitely recommend it because of the one-on-one education, basically the tailored education for a person, as well as the family time that you get to spend with your parents and your siblings. I think that you really get to know them a lot more personally when you're homeschooled than when you're in a public school or a private school setting.
It may sound a little odd and a little difficult to be around your family all day, but it's not something that you're going to regret.
It's very fun, especially when you get to do your work, and if you do it pretty quickly, you don't have to wait for another class to finish it so you can get out. You're free.